Meantime, a new proposal is raising some eyebrows and could be raising taxes for some homeowners. It all depends on your home's market value. Fox 61's Brian Didlake breaks down the bill.
The mansion tax, according to State Senator Martin Looney, will only affect homeowners with the market value, not an assessed value, of more than $430,000. And while this price range may affect homeowners without mansions, the state senator says that this additional tax will benefit the state.
We recognize that the property tax has been the one that is the most burdensome for people in Connecticut. And that's why we're trying to find ways to alleviate that burden.
The statewide property tax proposal would potentially raise $73 million by taxing wealthier communities. For instance, a home with a market value at $500,000 would pay an extra $50 property tax. But a home worth a market value of $1 million would have to pay $400 in taxes. And that extra money would then go back into city services across the state.
This proposal would set 3 tiers so that the poorest and neediest towns would get 50% pilot reimbursement, the second tier 40, the third tier 30. Right now, under all the pilots are funded only at about 25%. So everyone would get an increase, even the towns at the bottom tier.
Towns like Greenwich, New Canaan, Darien, and others throughout Fairfield County will be affected most by this proposal. Yet with the market value low enough, some argue this will affect those in the working class. Fox 61 reached out to real estate agency Star Realty Group, who says state residents have been taxed enough. And this proposal may affect people moving back into the state after Connecticut saw population declines over recent years prior to COVID-19.
You have a lot of fun activities, and it's starting to attract a younger population, which is so wonderful to see, and we've been swamped. And it's a challenge, though, still, because they're still fighting with the taxes. If they're coming from California, if they're coming from New York and Boston, I mean, these taxes look pretty good, right? But the more taxes we start adding on, well, people may start having more of a problem with it, too.
If the proposal is enacted, the Realty Group says many may have to re-educate themselves on how their taxes are done and if this affects mortgage payments. But for first-time homeowners,
one, we want to connect them with a great lender that's really going to tell them the difference in towns and the difference in what the mill rates mean versus the assessment. And when they take those things into account, what that means in terms of their taxes monthly.
State Senator Looney recognizes people's concerns, but encourages everyone to look at the bigger picture.
Under this plan, coupled with the change in the pilot, the neediest communities would see a net reduction in their taxes because the infusion of state money for payment in lieu of taxes would be such an additional revenue stream for them that they would be able to lower their overall tax rate.
The state senator says that this bill is just a proposal and that there has been no set date for a public hearing. But for now, we are in Hartford. Brian Didlake, Fox 61 News.